At the last minute, then we find out, as you mentioned, that Cindy Short, the local attorney, is no longer on the case. Obviously, a lot of confusion and chaos.
The reason is because the children might say something that could implicate mom. That's the most logical reason, because these kind of interviews happen all the time. The interviewers are specifically trained to work with children.
Did anything look out of place other than her not being there?
No. It's like they just walked in and just disappeared.
We took her and took all of our phones so we couldn't call anybody.
It doesn't disturb me that families lawyer up, but it bothers me when people won't do interviews.
Something is really wrong with mom and dad in this case, and I'm afraid that it probably is going to end up being something that led to the death of a child, I hate to say.
Breaking news in the search for baby Lisa, and we are taking your phone calls. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jane Velez-Mitchell coming to you live from Los Angeles. It has now been 18 days since anyone has seen adorable, precious baby Lisa Irwin. Look at that little smiling face. Where is she? Tonight, 3 dramatic new twists in this story. Late last night, the Kansas City police were told by reps from the missing child's family that baby Lisa's brothers, one is 8 years old, the other 5 or 6, would not be interviewed by authorities today, as had been planned all week long. No explanation offered as to why not. Why not let the kids talk to the cops? Cops were also hoping to get DNA swabs from those boys, but it looks like that is not happening either. Also, Kansas City lawyer Cindy Short no longer represents baby Lisa's parents, Deborah Bradley and Jeremy Irwin. This woman, the lawyer, off the case, no explanation why. There's been word that she was fired by the lead attorney, New York hotshot lawyer Joe Tacopina, but she denied that to the Kansas City Star, saying Tacopina is in no position to fire her, that she works for the family, not him. And then there's this huge news about one of the cell phones that baby Lisa's parents claim was taken along with their child. Apparently, somebody used that cell phone that night. Listen to what this woman, who says she got a call from that cell phone that was taken from the house, told GMA. Check this out.
I received a phone call, well, my phone did, the night that baby Lisa went missing. It was apparently a 50-second phone call. I don't know who answered it or what was said or who was on the other end of the phone.
This case is getting stranger and stranger by the minute. And still no sign of that adorable, helpless 11-month-old girl. What do you think is going on? Call me. 1-877-JVM says. That's 1-877-586-7297. Straight out to CNN's Jim Spellman, live at the crime scene in Kansas City, Missouri. Jim, what's the latest on this mystery phone call? It's bizarre.
Yeah, we know that the night that baby Lisa went missing, that her parents also reported 3 cell phones were gone. Police have confirmed to us that that night a call was made from one of those phone calls. Today, a woman named Megan Wright came forward and said she got the call, but she doesn't know the family. Very mysterious, definitely something investigators here are focusing on.
Now, Deborah, the mother of the missing child, claims 3 cell phones, as you just heard from Jim, were taken from the family home at the very same time that baby Lisa was purportedly, allegedly kidnapped. Okay, the very night of baby Lisa's disappearance, the stranger with the pink hair says she gets a 50-second phone call from an unidentified individual. This woman says she doesn't know this family. She's never seen baby Lisa until the news broke that she was missing. Again, listen to this from GMA.
I told him that I'd been through the neighborhood with my ex-boyfriend. I knew I've been through there. I didn't know the family, didn't recognize the pictures, had never seen baby Lisa until I saw her picture on the news.
Now, Joe Gomez, news reporter, KTRH, I'm also hearing a bizarre thing that she and her ex-boyfriend were walking around the neighborhood that night, and that cops have interviewed this particular woman with the pink hair who says she got the mystery phone call from the cell phone that was taken allegedly, purportedly, with the baby. She says the cops had talked to her how many times?
It was several times at least, Jane. You're right. That is very strange. You know, additionally, people around the neighborhood say at the same time that baby Lisa was reported missing, a strange man was walking around the neighborhood with a half-naked baby, just a baby in a diaper at 4 o'clock in the morning on this frigid night. So there's a lot of strange parts of this case, Jane, that are barely coming to the surface. Like you mentioned, baby Lisa's family are refusing to allow baby Lisa's brothers to be interviewed by the police. Why not? What have they got to hide? Police Cadaver dogs found they got a dead body hit at baby Lisa's house. A lot of these facts that are adding up, Jay, do not paint a good picture for the family, I gotta say.
Well, as you mentioned that, some people are saying now and suggesting that it seems like baby Lisa's parents are more concerned with protecting themselves than finding their precious missing child. I mean, who wouldn't offer the kids to talk? They did. And then they pulled them back. Why? Listen to this.
It doesn't disturb me that families lawyer up. The Ramseys did, because they kept saying, why aren't you looking for somebody else? But it bothers me when people won't do interviews. Trust me, when your child is missing, I said it many times. If Adam's kidnapper, and it was a serial pedophile, I would have stood in Times Square naked and took a bullet and did every interview to trade my life for that little boy's life. If people aren't cooperating, if they're not doing interviews, then you really got to say, what? You forgot who the real victim here is. Baby Lisa's the real victim.
John Walsh, one of my heroes, and he makes an excellent point. Now, Eric Chase, criminal defense attorney, take a look at this. Along with 3 different people who said they saw a mystery man in a white T-shirt walking around with a baby the night that baby Lisa disappeared, and this baby was naked in 45-degree temperatures. Surveillance video from a gas station in the area spots this. And is this the same person? Is this a guy? Does that person have a baby? Who knows? But you've got so many factors here that are really bizarre. I mean, it's out of some kind of horror movie, and yet it's all too real. What do you make of it?
Well, this is one of the strangest situations I've ever seen at this stage of a case. Yeah. You've got so much going on, and this Megan Wright, who got this phone call, who doesn't know who they got a phone call from? She said she got a 50-second phone call. Apparently the call was answered. It's her phone. It's in her pocket. The phone wasn't somewhere else, somebody else answering. I think what the police suspect is that she got a phone call from somebody who stole the phone at the same time they took the baby. And I don't think she came forward on her own and said, hey, look, I got this phone call. The police tracked her down. They ran the LUDs, got the downloads from these phones, identified her as receiving this phone call, and went and interviewed her. So the question becomes, how is she involved in the case? It's unbelievable to me that you would have somebody who says, I don't know the family, I don't know anything about this case, I got this 50-second phone call, I don't know who from, I don't even know who answered the phone. It just doesn't ring true to my ear.
Well, a couple of things that seem odd. Pat Brown, criminal profiler. A, that she gets a 50-second phone call and doesn't apparently have a conversation. We don't know if this person is male or female. Did the person have an accent? Was it a woman? As I just said, male or female. We don't know anything about it, but if you're on for 50 seconds on a cell phone, you're going to end up with some clues. And so she gets this number. Now, you're right, police have had to have tracked her down, because how would she know that she got a phone call from the missing cell phone? Pat.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here, so I think the police are trying to, really look through all of them. It could be that they did have some involvement, and one who was involved called the other with a stolen cell phone, and they're not admitting that. It's possible that those cell phones were left someplace in a public area where somebody said, hey, cool, cell phone. And another possibility, well, hey, wait, this is what I don't understand. Didn't the family say that none of the phones worked because they hadn't paid the bills, so they were not functioning phones? Why are they saying that if this phone can be used? So that's not the truth. That's a lie.
Fascinating. That's a very good point. Now, the phone lines are lighting up. Nancy, Florida. Your question or thought, Nancy?
Hey, Jane. Yeah, I don't understand why the parents even have the right to refuse to talk to police or refuse their children in a case like this, seeing as we went through Casey Anthony like this.
Yeah,
I mean,
Eric, briefly,
to avoid this is beyond my comprehension.
Well, morally it's a question, but what about legally, Eric?
No, the parents do have a right not to have their children interviewed, and I don't think that part is that bad yet. Look, a new lawyer's gotten on the case. They fired their first lawyer. Apparently she was thrust upon them. She'd been a lawyer for the family for some time. They wanted a lawyer they liked. And for that lawyer to call the police and say, hey, look, I want to figure this case out first before I start letting things happen. Hopefully those kids will be talking in the next couple of days. If it's just 1 or 2 days, if it doesn't bother me.
It's been since October 4th, a day after she disappeared, is the last time that cops talked to the older brothers who were purportedly in bed with the mother when she passed out from drinking at least 5 glasses of wine, and a cadaver dog hit on the floor of that bedroom. And the kids said they heard a noise. We're taking your calls. 1-877-JVM says. 1-877-586-7297. New developments in the search for a missing American woman, a beautiful woman who vanished in Aruba. I'm going to talk exclusively to her boyfriend, plus more on Baby Lisa.
Please, please, please call the TIPS hotline if you know where she's at. And if you have her, please just take her somewhere safe. No questions asked. Just drop her off with somebody at a hospital, a church, the fire department, the police station, anywhere. Just please bring her home.
Are involved and are going to be interviewed. They normally don't lie. They will come right out and tell you everything that went on in a particular place when an incident occurred. Secondly, may I add that if people are involved that the children know and they were given a script, maybe they're not sticking to the script, and as a result, these interviews are being canceled.
Is it true that you're getting paid to avoid local reporters?
Not at all.
Then why won't you talk to us?
Because we're grieving. Yep, there's the mother saying we're grieving. Poor choice of words, Freudian slip. Now, the mom says she put her baby into the crib at 6:40 p.m. She originally told cops she put the baby down at around 10:30. She admits she drank heavily that night after buying a box of wine, probably more than 5 glasses of wine, plus anti-anxiety meds, according to some published reports. 12:15, a neighbor reports seeing a mystery man walking around holding a baby in the neighborhood. 2:15, gas station surveillance video shows a man walking past. Now, 4 a.m., a witness on a motorcycle sees a man walking around holding a baby naked. I don't know what the heck to make of it, Pat Brown, but here's the thing. I'm trying to think myself, okay, I'm at home, and I'm in recovery. I haven't had a drink in 16 years, but you're at home, you're drinking more than 5 glasses of wine, you're also taking anti-anxiety meds. Often people have a party when they're drinking. Now, she was drinking with the neighbor on the stoop. The neighbor leaves at 10:30. The father is off, the father of the baby, working the overnight shift for the first time. This is the first time. So does mom decide, hypothetically speaking, this is an opportunity to party? Who can I invite over, or who might just happen along? That's certainly a possibility when somebody's, and how about, well, if there's alcohol and anti-anxiety meds, could there be other drugs involved? Is it a fair question, Pat?
Well, yeah, it's a fair question, Jane, but what's interesting is the family, the parents, said that they already gave like 9 people that are possibilities, and they've all been alibied. Then they had to struggle to think of who these people could be. Now, if you're drunk at your home to the point where you can't remember half of what happened, but you know there were people there, first thing you're going to think of is, oh my God, maybe one of those people did something to my kid. That should be your response. And something else is really weird. When we hear about that baby being carried about in the cold, now baby Lisa she had a little congestion. She had a cold that night. And one thing I haven't heard from the parents again is, oh my God, somebody saw my baby being carried around in the cold air. I'm so worried she could have pneumonia by now. Why, we've got to find her. Somebody could, she could be sick. I haven't heard that worry. It's almost like they're ignoring those sightings, which concerns me.
And why would somebody walk off with a baby in the dead of night? What occurs to me only is if you were getting drunk and messed up with somebody else and you got into a big fight with them, and that often happens when you're drinking, and then the person wants to stick it to you and get even with you for something you may have said, what is the worst thing they could possibly do? Walk off with your baby and take your cell phones so you couldn't track them down. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Out to the phone lines again. Pearl, New York, your question or thought.
Hi, I'm interested in the mother's brother. He looks very similar to the man that they saw walking around with the baby. Perhaps something happened to the baby and the mother called the brother to come get the baby and gave him the cell phones. Has anybody interviewed the brother?
Okay, Joe Gomez, you see right here we're looking at the mom purchasing a box of wine earlier in the evening with the brother in the dark T-shirt. But my understanding is that the person who's walking around with the mystery baby later that night is wearing a white T-shirt. What do you know, Joe?
Right, we don't know, obviously we don't know if there's any kind of link between the brother and this mystery man who's walking about, possibly carrying this baby only in a diaper in the middle of the night in 45-degree weather. But right now, police haven't made any connection like that, Jane. Right now, this mystery man, we're looking at him as an individual suspect. I mean, we don't even know who he is or where he is or you know, what he's doing in the neighborhood. We do know that there were reports of a homeless man in this neighborhood as well, doing some kind of handiwork. Is this that homeless guy who's just wandering around? Does he have something to do with baby Lisa's disappearance, Jane? These are questions that we're still trying to figure out.
Let's listen again to baby Lisa's parents describing what happened when the dad got home from work early in the morning, Tuesday, October 4th, and finds no baby Lisa.
I woke up and he came home and he said she's not in her crib, and I said, what do you mean she's not in her crib? And I just knew, you know, something was really wrong. And we're running around the house and we're screaming for her, and she was nowhere. And then I said, call 911, call 911. And he said, where are the phones? And they weren't on the counter where I left them. They were gone.
Again, Pat Brown, when you are drunk, you are likely to allow people that you don't know who may be dangerous into your home and maybe call them to get something from them. 10 seconds, your thought.
Well, I'm just worried about the fact that that doesn't seem to be where the family is pointing to, that we had some